Hi, Vince here with another Grow Joe. Now what you're looking at here is last year's Brussels sprouts. This is not an F1 variety. If you see on the one in centre screen there, they're missing. Who stole my Brussels sprouts? The answer is pigeons. Pigeons, unless you protect them, when they get hungry, will nibble away the easiest to get at Brussels sprouts. And boy do they nibble. So, you know, it's not usually a problem. However, if you get a flock over, they will destroy everything. And by the way, these small Savoy cabbages are late planters, so they've not really built up the big heads traditional with Savoy, and I think that's Ormskirk late anyway. But you can see things have had a go at the leaves all the way around. That'll be slugs. No caterpillars this time of year. And these are ready for harvesting. They'll be harvested small, and next year I've got to get on and plant them a bit earlier. And I don't think it was the time I planted them as much as the fact it was so dry and I have no water on this allotment, and they just could not get going. And didn't matter how much water I brought up in the wheelbarrow, I could not give them enough to get them going. And eventually when they did get going, it was a bit late to get going. So this year we're off and running early. Now, what we can get in straight away, well, as you can see, I've still got a lot to cultivate. I cannot get my rotavator on it. It is far too wet and sticky. However, we have got stuff on it already. Now, in a weedy spot, I've got my overwintering onions. Unfortunately, I just couldn't get them in time. Just hadn't got the time to get them there. And you can see them growing. In the middle there, you can just about see rows of onions growing away. Now, I've got to wait until I can get on there with a hoe and then hoe this and tidy it up a little bit. This is going to be a nightmare for me this year, but I was desperate to get overwintering Japanese onions in, because last year my onions never got going. However, we are looking at now getting the garlic going. That is the evil onion, only grown for she who must be obeyed. Garlic. Important, prepare it well. See what I've done? I've boxed in the edges, stopped the weeds from encroaching, made it nice and neat. I've dug it on a rare dry day, or at least cold frozen day. I've managed to rake it. You let it defrost, a bit more rain on it. That is ready for garlic. And in the next couple of Grow Joes, I will show you how to plant garlic. Now, it's important that you only plant garlic that is designed or grown for this country. To try and get the stuff out of a supermarket and plant, well, it's really hit and miss. Believe it or not, I picked up some garlic from Morrison's the other day, and it was grown in China. What's that all about? Shipped all the way from China. And it wasn't very expensive either, so it's not like it, you know, when you can grow it at home. Well, if you use it, that is. I tend not to use it, but as evidently you might have guessed so far, my missus does like using it. So it's up to you really. You grows your garlic and you takes your choice. The next thing I've got to do is cultivate this bit. And again, I'm going to struggle on this because I've got to dig it all over, and I've got to make sure I get a good meter, because I have shallots and onions to put in. Now I am in two minds, because this is where the onions went last year, and this is the normal onions from onion sets and onion seeds and leeks. I don't want to put them in here. That is 2 years in a row. Even though the crop weren't good, any diseases are going to persist in the soil. So really, I'm going to think about putting it in a different area. So I think I may leave this and then go straight on to where my spuds were last year. And sweet corn and this area. And I may start cultivating here. And if from some freak of nature we get a dry day, I can rotivate this. I'm not worried about this. All I've got is annual grasses. There's not even any ryegrass in this. It looks like it, but I'll keep digging it up, and there's no ryegrass runners on it. So this, I could put my onions in. It didn't have any of the onion family last year, and so that would be perfect for it. It's important to keep your crops grouped in families. So onion family, leeks, garlic, all your onions and shallots are in one group, brassicas are in another, and then there's all the odd ones like beans. And of course beans, which were growing just the other side of these old sweet corn, that has set more nutrients in the soil. Just like where I'm planting the garlic this year, that had beans in last year, so they've fixed nitrogen. There is more nutrients in that piece of soil. Hopefully it'll make bigger plants. Anyway, we'll get on with that in the next few weeks. And other than that, it's ready for clearing now. In the next 2 months it will all be cleared, and not only that, I'll have started my soft fruit, which I've been threatening to do for so long, and so I will have a soft fruit section as well, and then the main crops for the rest of the allotment. This year we're doing more sweet corn. Sweet corn we'll talk about a little later on. It wants to be planted sort of 4 to 6 weeks before we need to plant it out, so that's 6 weeks before the 10th of May. So yeah, it seems like a long way away, but it's not really. You want to get yourself sorted, you want to get your seeds ready, and as with sweet corn, any sorts of sweet corn, plant it in blocks, never in rows, so you've got a nice square area. It's wind pollinated, you get better crops. We had a good crop this year, but I'm aiming for a better one next. Okay, that's Vince here, today's Grow Joe, signing out.